All right, so good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time that you are watching this video. I'm Richard Taylor, and I'm coming to cover the story that recently resurfaced in the Wayne week. Because it's election time, I don't know why this story has resurfaced, but I'm going to talk about it because I've had experiences with both of these players in this saga. Now, the article or the situation revolves around uh, a former Goldsboro city employee and also a former city councilman and a current commissioner. Now, that former employee is one Miss Shycole Simpson Carter. Now, she was the community relations person for the Goldsboro City Hall during the time of this incident. She has since resigned, citing a toxic working environment. Now, um, I had experiences with Mrs. Shycole Simpson Carter, and what I will say that in my experience with her, she was what we would call a gatekeeper. Now, what is a gatekeeper? A gatekeeper is someone who the people in power put in place to keep the gate or prevent people with concerns, legitimate issues from having those issues addressed by deflecting, deferring, um, just sidestepping issues. Now, case in point, I remember dealing with her when I used to bring issues to the Goldsboro City Hall and the City Council. I may call and ask to speak to this person. I may present some information asking for answers, and they would send Miss Carter my way, and she would say, "Okay, well, I'll get back with you. I'll get someone to call you," and that would never happen. Now, that in turn got me frustrated, and I began to realize that she was only there for that person. Now, being that she was a black lady, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get some recourse or some addressing of the issues I bring to the table. Now, but because of her position and her role in the city council, in the city hall, that she was placed there to keep people like myself from getting their problems addressed. Now that brings us to the current issue at hand. Sometime during her tenure as community relations liaison, she and current city council member Mr. Antonio Williams had some sort of rift. The rift became public. Shycole Simpson Carter actually resigned and was given a settlement of $25,000 due to her blaming Councilman Williams for a toxic working environment, harassment based on sex, things of that nature, just discrimination, saying that he was exhibiting aggressive and pervasive behavior towards her. Now, during that time, I was kind of keeping up with the city council because, I think I campaigned with Mr. Williams and also Mr. Foster during that time, and I was elated to see two gentlemen whom I know have a heart for the community, whom I know will fight for the issues that many people won't fight for. I was elated to see those gentlemen on the council. Now, during that time, the majority of council was filled with elderly Caucasian men. The majority of the rest of the council was filled by the majority of Caucasian men. And I, remember or recall during that time that Mr. Foster and Mr. Williams were almost in constant opposition of the to the other members of the board, whether they were right or wrong in many of the issues. I just know that their voice was always outvoted. They were always portrayed as people who were causing problems because they spoke up against the status quo. They revealed a lot of things that have been going on. Excuse me. Uh, they have revealed a lot of things that have been going on for years. So members of the media, members of, I guess, the status quo, always presented them as, for lack of a better term, angry black men. Now, once again, being that I have been in that position before, not on the council, but bringing issues to those people in power who were either unconcerned or unfazed by the issues that I bring. So I understand that the frustration that they may have been going through during that time. However, nevertheless, the situation became public. There were a couple of articles written about some disputes that Shycole Simpson Carter and Councilman Williams had in the public. Some disputes about, just certain projects. And a couple of articles I've read, stated that how Miss Carter felt that, every time she came around, Mr. Williams was berating her and belittling her based on, once again, sex and the fact that she was an African American female. But both of them were African American, so that's a whole nother different story. But being that I know those type of individuals, I really don't hold any credence. During that time, I think that the council used that riff to paint Councilman Williams as an agitator and as someone who needed to be removed or censored. And when I mean censored, I don't mean quiet. It's censured means that he was to be publicly disapproved or condemned by the council. So that's what they were trying to get him to do, because in one meeting he alleged or alluded to the fact that the city had paid this woman $25,000 because of her claims, which in his point of view, those claims were unsubstantiated. He requested a public review of the emails because she tried to say that he was berating her, through those methods and various other avenues. If to my knowledge, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, those emails were never uncovered. And also, there was a temporary restraining order that was taken out on behalf of Shycole Simpson Carter in reference to Councilman Antonio Williams. And if I'm not mistaken, that temporary restraining order was not granted because there were no claims to be founded. Now, I have not talked to Councilman Williams, but I did speak with his significant other who, she gave me bits and pieces of information, vague information, but she declined really to speak upon it because actually the ex-councilman Williams, the current commissioner, actually has a lawsuit pending against the city of Goldsboro. But she did refer me to get the court transcripts from that temporary restraining order hearing, which was not negated. She indicated that all of the information was out there, and she also directed me to a few other sources to get his point of view on that. She also gave me the number of his attorney, which I was not able to get in contact with him, but I definitely didn't want to speak on the matter without checking with him first, because once again I know Councilman Williams. I know his heart for the community, his heart for issues, and I just looking from the outside in and having my own experiences, I really do discount the claims that was made against him just because I watched the situation from the outside in. Just like they tried to demonize and defame Councilman Foster, they did so as well with Councilman Williams. And I believe it's just because they voiced their opinion on a lot of issues and called out a lot of the inadequacies and the contradictions of the then city council, once again, which was ruled by majority older Caucasian male presence. Now, after Williams resigned, she resigned once again, and she was granted that $25,000 lawsuit. Councilman Williams was elected to District 1, if I'm correct, District 1 County Commissioner. Now, I guess sometime during that time, he also filed his claim against the city council and a lawsuit against him, her, and also the city council in conjunction, citing that the council and her, or the council allowed her to defame him, to disparage him, to slander him in a myriad of manners, basically making those claims against him that were never substantiated, but also they were taken at the word of this one lady, once again, who, in my opinion, was serving as a gatekeeper role. Now, shout out to Ken Fine once again. This is the Wayne Week paper from last week. I never got around to doing this story, but I'm going to read you some of the claims that are publicized in Councilman Williams' lawsuit. And it cites that, because of the rift with Mrs. Carter Simpson, or Simpson Carter, he was harassed and discriminated against and suffered several defamatory attacks from city councilmen, including the late Mayor Chuck Allen, as well as several other people in City Hall. He cites one incident that he received in 2017, a permit to upgrade the front of his business, which is located in downtown. He said at that time there had been many other businesses upgrading their businesses, and he received a permit. And once the city found out that he received that permit, the city council ultimately denied his permit to do the work, and therefore made him tear down the work that he had already began to construct. So here we have a city councilman who was embroiled in some discrepancies with the older members of the board, and they in turn once again used their powers, allegedly, according to Mr. Williams, to negate his building permit to beautify and edify his business once they found out that that permit was granted and that he had already did the work. And they actually made it so that he could not build. And he alleges that, one of the board members said that his business, which is a black-owned business, said this is not the look that we want downtown. Williams said that he reported the concerns to the mayor, the county, the city council, and the city manager, but he was ignored. And also, he appealed the decision. And excuse me, oh man, I might have hurt my elbow. But yeah, he appealed the decision, and they still denied his permit. And once again, he said that they were very happy that they were able to deny his permit. And one of the board members said, okay, why are you making us do this to you? And that is in reference probably to, once again, his not going along to get along on the board. So therefore, these actions were taken in retaliation to his outspokenness about the Carter case, but also outspokenness about many other issues that he felt needed to be addressed. Also, they said that sometime during that time, this article says that the council or the city council received an anonymous letter saying that Williams did not live in the district that he represented. Once again, Williams regarded the allegations as false, yet and still the then mayor ordered an investigation into Williams and his residency. Williams had to once again hire an attorney to represent this, and once again, he was told by one member, "Why are you making us do this to you?" He was eventually cleared of those allegations, but once again, he says he kept receiving actions that would try to tarnish his reputation. He also cites a program that he advocated for 24 hours of peace and wellness in the black community. And he said that this was dismissed by the mayor due to the belief that the event would make the minority community violent. Now, how would an event that is called 24 Hours of Peace make the minority community violent? Once again, that's an assertion by someone allegedly who is not even a part of the minority community. So how would they know what would make the community violent? And also, he cited that he, in his complaint, fostered or established or tried to establish many programs for the youth that once again were voted against, stating that it was a conflict of interest towards him. He also once again wrote a letter. I guess this was in the time of the rift between he and Miss Carter Simpson or Simpson Carter. Demanded that she be fired because of her actions toward him, and then she subsequently filed a complaint seeking that restraining order, which was once again immediately dropped. The council members then, set out on a campaign to have him removed from his council seat because of the strained relationship between Miss Simpson Carter, but once again, that was not allowed to happen. And one of them, one of the claims said the mayor and white city councilmen were able to review the report and make changes to it, but Williams was taunted with being told he could view it and ultimately having those statements rescinded for proper cause. Now that is, I guess, in his request for the emails that were requested by him in the defense of his of those accusations of him being harassing towards Miss Simpson. So all of this once again is public record. Williams goes on to allege a lot of things that during his tenure as city council he felt were discriminatory and outright just, for lack of a better word, racist, discriminating based upon his race. Now, once again, I think at that time only he and Bevan Foster, which both of them are now county commissioners, were the only two African Americans on the city council. So I'm bringing this up because it is election time, and I'm going to talk about the whole election process that I've seen and witnessed. Just sitting back and um, just being appalled at the certain things that I hear and see at the elections, and what people become during this time of year when they're running for office, or they have someone that they think should be elected to office. There's some very, very, very um, uncandidate like behavior that goes on. But nevertheless, I do want to address this issue because I don't know why that article was written at this time, but I do know that I witnessed from afar some of the propaganda that would paint Mr. Williams in a bad way. Now, I don't know all the inner workings. As you see, I'm taking my information from an article that was written. I wasn't there. I didn't see the rift between he and Shycole Simpson Carter. But I do know, that, me, even just from my own experiences, me being a vocal black male who would go up there with questions. I used to go. I'm gonna do a video about that later. I used to go over there with like a 3 or 4 page questionnaire, questioning the city's finances. I would go online and look up some things and say, okay, well, you guys said you guys gonna do this with the money, but you guys did that with the money. So I would have a whole bunch of lists of questions. I would call, I would hand the list, and they said, well, give me 3 or 4 days to answer it. And actually one day I did walk out of a meeting that they had set up specially for me to answer my questions, because once you see that somebody is playing with your intelligence, or they're dodging your questions, or they're giving you double talk or the runaround, then yeah, you get frustrated. So I can put myself in Councilman Williams' shoes, where he was probably trying to do some things, trying to get some answers, and they sent, the gatekeeper, or Miss Shycole Simpson Carter, to dissuade him, to pacify him, to give him once again the song and dance, or the pony show. And then of course, you get tired of that. So once again, I'm just speculating here because I wasn't there, but I have to go on my own experiences of being, someone who was very concerned about what was going on with the city leadership and also the city as a whole. And I think, Councilman and current Commissioner Williams does have, some vested interests in the city, and also the well-being of, certain factions that may not uh, have the well wishes of those who have been in power. But nevertheless, I just wanted to address this because I'm covering everything else in that paper, so I couldn't duck this. Once again, I may be a little bit biased because once again, I know Commissioner Williams, and I've seen him, fight for what is right in my eyes, and once again, what is right in my eyes may not be right in, the eyes of the others who were in power at the time. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. Right now, the lawsuit is still under litigation. There have been, I think, a ruling, on October the 9th, where some documents were protected, and so they may not be shown. But as his significant other told me, just check the emails. If they want the truth, the truth is in the emails. And she also directed me to the temporary restraining order transcript. So when I get back in town, I will definitely be going back and probably getting a hold of that transcript. But I did just want to touch on the issue because I saw that, and once again, I just have a different experience when dealing with gatekeepers, and it is my experience that Miss Shycole Simpson Carter was a gatekeeper. She was one used by those powers that be to pacify or distract or dissuade anybody who would want to shake the status quo of things up. So you guys let me know if anything that I said wrong in this video. Once again, my number is 919-587-7782. I don't know everything. I may have dates and times and situations mixed up, but I do know, that I've seen, the media, other board members demonize other board members that did not believe and think and would not sit quietly and aimlessly by while things were being done in an incorrect manner. So y'all check it out. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But shout out once again to County Commissioner Antonio Williams and all the other candidates who are running because of a passion for the city and not just for personal gain or personal notoriety. But peace and blessings. I'm out. Let me get some rest. We're out here at the Victims Advocacy Support Services. Retreat for those people who are suffering or who had family members killed by homicide. And so this is a support group for those. I wanted to come out there and support these individuals. And also, once again, I find myself grieving as well. I didn't know I was grieving, but, last year, rest in peace, Cleveland Levon Ward, he was killed by gun violence. And, probably going to talk about that as well in another video. But, yeah, that was my guy. So I realized that I still ain't crying about it. But, that's a whole nother story. But, yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about the video, man. In the current state of affairs and city government and this lawsuit that is still going on and still being litigated. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a blessed night.